There you go. All right, so my presentation is about video and more specifically about video messaging. So it's called What's Your Google because I'm going to show you a couple of videos that have two types of approaches when it comes to the messages and video making. So before I get into that, I want to show them to you first because I think that would be the most effective way for you to understand by just kind of watching and viewing. Let's go back. There we go. And then I'll go more in depth after we finish the videos. But here's the first one.
More of what you use your computer for and what's actually happening in the cloud. So since people are rethinking the way they do things, we rethought the computer. That's the Chromebook. The always new computer. Chromebook doesn't slow down or need upgrades. So you're always using the fastest, most secure version. And you're always one click away from the best new stuff. Chat face-to-face, edit photos and videos, even in HD. Work together in real time. Or get down to the really important things. In fact, there are thousands of apps to help you get it all done without waiting for updates, rebooting, or, well, you know, and it's fast. Chromebook boots in seconds. It has virus protection built in, and you're connected to the cloud. So your stuff is everywhere you need it to be. Safe and secure, and always right at your fingertips. You can work anywhere with your Chromebook. Online, offline, on a plane, on a train, in a tree. If you're always updated, always safe, always fast, always new Chromebook.
All right, so that's the first one, and then I'm going to show you the second one, just to kind of get you prepared for it. It's a little bit of a tearjerker, and most of you probably have already seen it, but it's a commercial by Google India, and you'll see it. So it's pretty much self-explanatory. But here's another one that I would like to show you all.
लाहौर में हमारे घर के सामने एक बड़ा बाग था। उस बाग का गेट बाबा आजम के जमाने, तो रोज शाम को हमने वहाँ पतंगे उड़ानी और उसके बाद जाके यूसुफ की दुकान से जजरिया चुरा के खानी।
जजरिया?
मेरा साहब नमस्ते। मेरी पोती मुंबई वाली। और बेटे क्या हाल चाल है?
तुमसे
Right, so when we look at both of those, that's really emotional. I always watch that and I can't never get around it. But yeah, these are two different types of approaches into creating a video message. Let me stay by the mic. So let's just get into it. This is called What Is Your Google? And I'm going to talk about two different types, which is direct versus indirect video messaging. The two videos that we just saw, the first one was more of a direct approach, really showing you the capabilities or just the components of a particular message. And the second one is more indirect, and it's really showcasing a particular story, but it's incorporating the message indirectly. So let's go ahead and get into it. First, I want to talk about what is video. Video is pretty much a combination of audio, photography, graphic animations, and multiple other things that creates a message. And one thing within the university, especially at UC Santa Barbara, is you want to focus on the message. So we're from a university standpoint, but we're communicating to students. That's the most important part. It's not about what platform we're using, it's about the actual message. Same type of message you would get through in like an email. It's the same type of thing. We're just trying to give accurate messages in the most effective way. So the next thing I would like to say is the message is focus. So turning your message into a video message. Step one is, what is the goal of your video? So what are you trying to communicate to the students or to whatever your audience is? That's the most key important thing before you even figure out what type of video that you want to do, whether it's direct approach or indirect. Step number two is what's important to verbally communicate. So an example of that is if I'm doing a video about how to prepare a healthy meal, I'm going to talk about that healthy plate has fruits and vegetables, grains and proteins. And then the next part is what are you going to visually assist your verbal communication? So that'll just show the diagram. You're not going to say, oh, fruits and vegetables are on the right and grains is on the left and stuff like that. Pretty much your message has to consist of what you really want them to take away, and then your visuals have to assist that for it to be an effective communication. Step number three, what type of video are you creating? So it's the how-to, kind of more of a direct storytelling. So you got to figure out what type of video that you want to create. Step number four is preparing for production, and I think it's called pre-production, and then you have post-production, and then production, then post-production. But this pre-production component, getting all the actors together, understanding what the script is going to be about, knowing where you're going to shoot, what are all the details about when you're trying to get everything together. Pre-production is the key thing to having a successful video. And so I can talk about it in another training, but we'll just keep moving forward. So going back to the direct versus indirect videos. Direct is more formal, it's detail-oriented, it's more loyal. So you're going to get exactly what the message is trying to give. There's no wiggle room for you to not understand what it's about. So that could be a step-by-step process. It could be, a spokesperson highlighting what and when the event is going to be, where it's going to be, at what time. Or it can be like some type of text graphic giving you, say for instance like a mission statement for the essay. If we turn that to a motion graphic, that would be something what this is about. Indirect is informal. You get emotionally attached to it, and it's more symbolic. So if we think about the last video that we watched, how many people was kind of like a little bit affected by it? It's pretty, yeah. And so, and then which one would you say, and we'll touch on this a little bit later, but which one would you say was more memorable? Would you say the first one, by a show of hands, or the second one? And that's the power behind indirect, but direct is definitely useful, and it's something that we need in the university as well. This whole presentation is pretty much to determine when is it the right time to use this indirect approach, which is really powerful, or when do we need to use the direct approach? So if you see at the bottom, both of them kind of have the same examples: explainer, event recap, PSA, because they can both be used for all three of those, but it's just your approach. So if it's an explainer video talking about CLAS and how a student's supposed to, how a student can go to CLAS and enhance their writing skills, you can have one with the spokesperson from CLAS talking about, yeah, you know, you do this and you can go in and we have office hours here and we have this or anything like that. But then you can have something more so like the second Google video that I showed, where a student is really struggling. You know, they're even crying on the phone with their parents, talking about they don't know what they're going to do with this essay. You show them creatively going up the stairs, going to CLAS, meeting and talking to an individual, and then they're going to their class with confidence with a paper, and they're getting it back, and they're ending on the phone with their parents, you know, smiling and laughing. It doesn't even have to have any narration, but you'll understand through that whole storytelling what the message was. So those are the two differences in the definitions. So I kind of already touched on this, but when it comes to the pros and cons, the direct, you have full control over your message delivery, as I said. And then you have little room for misinterpretation, which pretty much complements that first pro. The cons, or it might be a con, is that it might be more memorable to the audience compared to the indirect approach. And you know, when it comes to direct information, you really want to use that for more serious content, some content that is really sensitive, and you really need an approach that's not necessarily stern, but something that is really specific and people can understand effectively. And then it might not be as share-worthy, so it might be something for an individual to understand, okay, the date and time of this event is here, or I need to understand this training, so I'm going to go and watch it. And I'll talk about how indirect can be share-worthy too. But it's most effective, direct is most effective when your audience understands the video in one viewing. So if they have to watch it multiple times, then you failed, or you could have done better in an area for them to actually understand this video. And it's, like I said, it's made for sensitive or complex information that you really need people to understand. Indirect, the pros, or evokes emotional connection. It creates a discussion, which is share-worthy, so people will be more likely to share this type of video. They'll be more likely to share the latter CLAS video that I was telling you about, rather than the first one. The audience can interpret the message in various ways. That's the only con, well, it's the major con when it comes to indirect videos. So the same as, like say for instance for the first CLAS example that I gave, an individual can watch and go, okay, I can go to CLAS, so I can get, you know, better at writing or my grammar or whatever. The second video, somebody might just take it as, what is this video about? I don't understand it. Okay, it's a girl, like, where is that? What is CLAS, you know? So, you know, there's different things that you'll get the pros and cons of, but if it's an effective message, you can get your point across. So indirect is more so for general or promotional information, not necessarily for like events or something specifically that you want people to understand. So the next video that I want to show you, I'll show a little bit of it. I won't show it all, but this is a kind of a hybrid between direct and indirect. We'll kind of just go halfway. So you kind of get the concept, but basically what that is, can anybody explain why that would be a potential hybrid when it comes to the video messaging of indirect?
Showing you the function, so that's the direct part, but it's using images from people's past for a certain age group that would recognize it, so that's sort of the...
Yes. So that's basically, yeah, so if you remember the first Google video that I showed, it was really touching on, even though it was creative and you saw a whole bunch of different effects, it was really focused on the content. By content, I'm talking about the actual message. They're trying to sell you this Google book, this Chromebook, this product. But in this last video that I showed you, just like Micah said, it gives you a little bit more, so you can kind of get a little bit emotionally attached to it. Like I got emotionally attached to Power Rangers because that's what I used to watch all the time. So it's making it a little bit more memorable, but I am also receiving some good information as well. So you can go 100% direct, like the first example that I showed you, 100% indirect, like the second example, or you can go 50-50 like this one as well. But then you can also go 75 direct and 25% direct. That could be anywhere to where you will have like if we put both the CLAS videos together, where you showcase like a whole student. The pretty much the whole narration is over the video, but you'll have this whole story going on. And then the last one would be the total flip. So you'll have the whole story going on, and then at the end you say, CLS has this, that, and the other. So, there's a whole bunch of different combinations that you can do, but it's really what's more effective to your department. So how does this relate to student affairs? So this is kind of an activity that I wanted to talk and communicate between each other. So I have a couple of scenarios, and either we can kind of determine if it's a direct approach or if it's more indirect. So say for instance we were doing a video, since everybody kind of knows about what's going on with meningitis, we're not doing one, but just imagine if we were brainstorming about doing a video for the meningitis campaign. Which approach would be the most effective to use and why, if anybody can chime in?
I think the indirect would be rather important because you got to get the emotional buy-in on the students.
Okay, that's a good. Okay, anybody else?
You want to use a mix because you do want to get their buy-in, but you also want to put the important information out there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just to say something different too, I think it has to be direct too, because you don't want any misinformation being interpreted. You want it to be very clear that these are the things that need to happen.
Yeah, so it could, and I think all of those points are valid. I would tend to agree more with the direct as well. Just because there's a lot of it's affected the community in a lot of ways, and so you do want that specific information coming out. I think the indirect side will come out and showing really creative shots of just to kind of make the video not seem as sad in a sense. But the core of it, so I think this would be like a 75-25 when it comes to the direct and the indirect. But that's why we all sit down and talk about this because of hard topics like this, because you need to really understand what it is to use direct or indirect. Counseling services. Say for instance we were doing a video showcasing counseling services. Which would be the best approach to use?
Who's your audience? Isn't it going to be tailored to your audience for anything?
Well, yeah, that's actually a good focus. I mean, that's a good point. Say, for instance, we just say that the audience is UCSB students. I know that's really broad, but
just having worked a little bit on that, I'd probably say more direct.
Okay.
There's probably a lot of information they don't know.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? See, and for this one, I think that you're a little bit more flexible when it comes to counseling services, because it depends on the actual target audience, but it also depends on the message that you're trying to get across. If it's a suicide prevention message, then you probably want that to be more direct. And we did a video like that for the Say Something campaign. I would show it, but I don't have enough time. But say, for instance, you just wanted to promote or negate the negative stigma that CAPS has. You can do something creative. You can have a student struggling through their midterm, or really kind of in a depressed like manner, and then You know, they go to CAPS, and then they talk to a counselor. Or they're interacting with some of the peers there, and then all of a sudden at the end they're like, they're getting better. They feel better. They're doing other things. They're interacting, and they're on campus, and they're having a good time. Of course, I just kind of said that out of the blue because there's a lot of things that you do want to control, and there will be a lot of direct components to that. But you can go either way.
It's probably, what you're saying is the goal is probably what determines which way it's going to go.
Yeah, basically. And then, I think we pretty much hit on that. I had another example, but basically it just depends. That's what it comes down to. But as long as you know those core concepts when it comes to those two different styles, then you can begin to tailor your message the way that you want to and have the students actually understand it the way that you want them to understand it. So I'm here to help. You can use me as a resource. There's my contact information. If you have a video idea, you can send it over to CommCollab. And I would say really just to take this kind of concept and these beginning concepts to your departments and say, hey, maybe we could do something like more indirect, because that's what's going to really draw the students. They're going to want to watch those types of things. Direct, we have to do our stuff for emergencies and everything, but I would really want to promote how we can use more creative ways to engage students and connect with them, because that's what they're looking at. So, yeah, thank you.